Some weeks are filled with exciting reveals, some are filled with notices of closure, others are just kinda meh. This week we have some of all three categories, and I am excited to talk about each and every single one. But first, I want to note that League of Maidens, a game that I know a lot of you are eagerly anticipating, is actually launching into open alpha at the end of this month. And you know what? We have alpha keys to give away. All you need to do to participate and potentially win one of those alpha keys is click that link in the description and the pinned comment below. It'll take you right to the giveaway, and participating is incredibly simple. Also, do know that we are going to be streaming League of Maidens over on our Twitch channel in approximately 3 to 4 hours after this video goes live. You can join us over at twitch.tv/MMOBite if you are interested in seeing how the game plays. Now, I urge you to come on over and join us as we play around with some of the Maidens. Now, without further ado, let's jump into this week's weekly bite of MMORPG news. Okay, let's start this off with League of Maidens. I've covered this game quite extensively over the course of the last year and a half, and let me tell you, after getting to play it for the very first time a couple months ago, I was impressed by what I saw. So when the developers behind the game revealed the game was going to be available to play on February 25th last month, I was ecstatic. I'd forgotten to do a video discussing this, and honestly, I will likely do so next week after we stream some of it this weekend, but they have improved on so many features ahead of its release that you actually need to head on over to take a look at the list of fixes yourself. There's just so much to go through, and honestly, it'd just be easier along with faster if you read through it. Now, do note that if you skip the intro, we actually have a giveaway going on for keys for the game that we're running with the League of Maidens team personally, so make sure to participate if you're looking to secure a key by clicking that link in the description of the pinned comment below. Next comes a brand new survival MMO, Wild Terra 2. This is a game that looks like it took inspiration from Elyon Online and somehow ended up being worse than Legends of Aria. Wild Terra 2 just launched into early access on Steam for approximately $35. That is for the cheapest package. So to stream it, both Mrs. Six and I were required to purchase a copy each, totaling over $70 after tax. And let me be the first to tell you that this was not worth it. This is a buggy game, which granted is technically acceptable considering it's in quote-unquote early access. This is the label, after all, that allows developers to sell broken games that may never end up in a complete form, but the game, despite its bugs, was just, I don't know, boring? There was no direction. Heck, we didn't even have a map. Seeing the influx of negative reviews left on Steam, I'm glad that I was not the only one that thought this was the case. Now, if you're looking to purchase this MMO, I would urge you to at least wait until it's much farther through development, because in its current form, it is not worth a $30 investment. Everyone is awaiting the upcoming PSO2 New Genesis game, right? It looks like it could take PSO2 to an entirely new level, and I am incredibly excited. So let me start this off by stating that they are currently holding pre-registrations for the closed beta of the game that will launch later this year for those of you that want to go ahead and get into the game and test it out ahead of everyone else. Now, concerning the original incarnation of PSO2, currently the game is available on Xbox and PC. It launched onto Steam at the end of 2020, finally allowing the majority of PC players to access the title, as up until that point it was only available via the terrible Microsoft Store. As of February 17th, just next week, the game will be launching onto the Epic Games Store as well, potentially increasing the total player base by a whopping 3 to 4 more people, which is huge. Okay, jokes aside, there will actually be a brand new class for players to level as well, the Luster class, which utilizes gunblades. Those are one of my favorite weapon types after seeing Squall use it all the way back in Final Fantasy VIII. Hot off of the success of its brand new launch in South Korea and its upcoming launch in North America and Europe, Bluehole, the developers behind both Elyon and Terra, revealed the first of several playing classes for the game in the form of the Slayer. Now, as a pretty big fan of Terra, which honestly also had a class called the Slayer, I will admit that seeing the Slayer in action during the trailer got me pretty excited. I have always been a fan of the melee classes in the game, and after seeing the terrible state of the combat in Descent Infinite Realm, I never thought we'd ever see something like this. The new Slayer class is fast, its abilities look like they have a lot of impact, and overall, I am fairly impressed by what I saw. Now, all we need is an exact release date, and it is long since overdue. Allods Online has been online for, I don't know, like over a decade now, I think, right? And while the game never achieved the popularity of many of its free-to-play competitors, the fact that it is still online and receiving the occasional update is a testament to its dedicated player base and to the game itself. But getting into the game can be difficult, as current servers have been online with players playing and progressing for years. This makes it difficult to compete if this is your ultimate goal, but that is where today's news comes in. The team behind Allods Online have confirmed a brand new server was open titled New Dawn, and it's completely free for players to log into and begin their journey. The new server has increased rates, so if you're looking to jump into the game for the first time, this is the perfect opportunity to. I've covered Blade and Soul 2 a couple times now. I thought that the development of a direct sequel to the popular Blade and Soul PC MMORPG for mobile was a stupid idea, and it was, but it turns out that after years spent developing the game for mobile exclusively, NCSoft have confirmed that they also thought that it was a dumb idea and are going to port the game on over to PC as well, going on to state full cross-platform play between the two platforms, with console and cloud gaming support in the future. This is bizarre, as it is still going to be a mobile game, but ported on over to every other platform there is. Do we need a mobile Blade and Soul to replace the PC iteration of the game? Why not just optimize and overhaul the PC game and port that on over to consoles instead? Oh, right. Money. Additionally, NCSoft have opened pre-registration for the game ahead of its release in South Korea this year, but no date has been given for an international release currently. Valheim is a brand new survival game that just launched into early access and to quite the critical success, selling over 1 million copies in its first week alone and closing in on significantly more in the week following. Mrs. Sticks and I actually streamed several hours of this over on our Twitch channel, but suffice it to say, if you're looking for a new survival game to replace other classics like Rust or Ark, then this might be something you'll enjoy. Yes, it is in early access, but the polish provided with this game is something that most indie devs should strive towards. Although do note that while this is in early access, you are required to pay the full $20 to play the game, and it still has a ways to go before it's in a fully complete form. I think in what is perhaps the biggest reveal of 2021, Square Enix went on to announce that Endwalker, the brand new expansion for Final Fantasy XIV, will be launching in fall 2021. Not only does this bring a conclusion to the story that has been going on since the game's inception, but it brings with it 2 new classes, the Sage Healer and an unconfirmed melee DPS. Everything else is what you'd expect out of an expansion: new story, new regions, new balance changes, new class alterations. But the most noteworthy inclusion was that they have a PS5 launch set for April 2021, with beta tests being held in preparation for the launch. Yeah, soon players will be capable of playing on their own trusty, shiny new PS5 console. I cannot wait until we get the final patch for the game, as I have been absent for the last 9 months waiting for the final patch to drop so I can move through and complete all the content in preparation for the expansion. As part of their ongoing alpha test phases, the team behind the Ashes of Creation MMO have revealed a trailer showcasing the new tank archetype. And I know that I'm going to get some hate from the Ashes of Creation community for saying this, as I always do, but the tank abilities, not all of them, but quite a few of them, actually look incredibly basic and fall rather flat in terms of actual animation. I don't think I've ever seen an MMO as hyped as this game look like it was made with animations from back in 2008. Like, I'm well aware that this will ultimately change over time, as what we're seeing currently is not indicative of the final product, but at the same time, if we're constantly given class trailers like this showing this, and this is not what we're actually going to get, then what's the point? Thankfully, the rest of the game looks great though, so if they take the time to rework those animations, I feel like the game will be in a good place. When was the last time you saw anyone other than hardcore Maplers talk about MapleStory? I think the last time I even discussed a game was way back when they shut down MapleStory 2. Even after the closure, Nexon has continued to update the game, introducing a plethora of new content for players to partake of. Today, however, we're here to discuss their newest update that brings with it various minigames, something that MapleStory does incredibly well and runs through till March 9th. There have also been additional balance changes made to the game, so while yes, this update didn't really include much in the way of new content, it's worth noting that it brings with it a lot of fun little side activities. I've covered Fioresia Online once before, and honestly, this looks like a game that might actually have a future, which seems to be a very rare occurrence in this day and age of indie MMOs. Now, earlier this week, it was brought to my attention that the developer of the game went ahead and posted their roadmap for 2021, which brings with it quite a bit of new content. The City of Cinderstone, a caravan and siege system side quests from level 1 through level 20, and music for the game. And that's just for this month. March, April, May all have a plethora of content planned if you're looking to see exactly how much of the game will be introduced over the next several months. Fioresia Online is currently scheduled to release this year in 2021 via Steam for those of you that are looking to get into the game. As of a couple weeks ago, the Life is Feudal MMO completely shut down. This was due to circumstances that were, in their words, beyond their control. The player base for the MMO really wasn't incredibly high, but there were enough players to keep the game online. The closure has prompted quite a few players to go ahead here and leave reviews claiming that the game was a scam, losing money that they invested into the game over the course of its life. And while the non-MMO Life is Feudal is going to in fact remain actively accessible, it's still a sad day to see any MMO close. Aion Classic has apparently been a sleeper hit in South Korea. Last year, NCSoft reported that Aion was at its lowest point in terms of active population and financial situation. However, according to their most recent report, the game has more than doubled in every aspect across the board, going to show that launching a classic version of the game was a correct choice to bring the game back to life. This should also show them that people preferred the game how it used to be, as opposed to the shell that it is today. No confirmation of a Western release of the classic servers has been made yet though, unfortunately. And that is it. That is all of the MMO related news that has been brought to my attention over the course of the last 2 weeks. If you think there's anything I missed, you can go ahead and DM me on Twitter, on Facebook, on Discord, on Instagram, anywhere you can find me. Make sure to go ahead and include a link to the article in question, and if applicable, I will go ahead and talk about it in a future video. Anyway guys, that is it for me. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Someday soon, I'm gonna make it.